everybody. So today it's a rainy Saturday. Doors and windows are open. I don't think it's going to be any kind of a thunderstorm, but we do have rain going on. So if you can hear it, that's always a treat. Anyways, if I can get my stool situated so I can sit down, then we'll get started. I am working on, excuse me. I am working on my wine journal. I'm actually working on two. I'm kind of doing two at a time. They're different, but they're the same in size and kind of what's in them, but make sure you're in frame here. I get situated and I sit down and then I wonder if you're in frame. Okay, looks like you are. Anyways, I'm working on two wine journals. This one here is mostly purples, and you can see I've got some green paper, some tan paper. The images are a mix of the red grapes and the green grapes throughout this one. And then I'm working on this one, and this is mostly purple, like all the paper's purple. I'm going to accent in purple and all that. And the images that are used throughout this one are the purple grapes. So, yeah, kind of working on two at a time. But right now I'm kind of obviously only working on one at a time because I'm only one person. I can only do one thing. I told myself I was going to figure out who these images were. I don't do it often, but I got a digital journal kit offline off of Etsy. I will link them in the below because right now I can't think of who it was that I used, and since you guys are on my phone, I can't look it up. So I will link this. I didn't use the whole kit, but I've used some things in it, some images, some pages that are wine related. So I want to give credit where credit's due. So I'll link that below. So this is kind of going to be just a little create with me. I'm working on a few things, some embellishments, putting my pages together. I tend to do my journals with a lot of blank pages, a lot of writing space. I don't know why. I see journals where they have stuff on every page, and I love it, but I just, for whatever reason, can't seem to do that. So, you know, it is what it is. So, let's just kind of, my process for putting together journals is usually I put together the cover, figure out the cover, I, get my cover all done, and then I work on my insides. It's very rare that I do my insides first before. I don't even have a book or cover or anything picked out for this. My plan is to, since I have some wine-related fabric, this is obviously not big enough, but I have several different options. My plan is to make a fabric cover with, the Amazon packaging, things like that. So with that in mind, I just started making my insides and kind of went with the size of a half a sheet of paper folded. I think those are good journal sizes. Anyways, so I'm kind of doing this backwards because I'm doing the insides first, and then I'll figure out the cover later. So I don't know if that's throwing me off or what, but it's probably just a time crunch, actually, because I have this weekend to work on and hopefully get these 2 journals done before my next weekend event. But I have all day today and all day tomorrow, so we can make it happen. So, pretty much how I put together my journals is with my signatures. This journal is going to have 3 signatures. 1, 2, 3 signatures. I don't know how many pages. The middle signature is a little bit thinner. I don't know why. It just is. My purple journal has 3 signatures as well, with the middle one being kind of skinny as well. But I like to do all of my embellishments on my pages before I sew it into my journal, my cover. I know some people don't do that. They put together their journal and then they work on embellishments and all that. But, and even more so, now that I'm doing sewing, I want to make sure I've got all my sewing elements done. And it's easier, obviously, to do those when I can take just a signature to the sewing machine versus, or just a page to the sewing machine versus the whole signature. So yeah, that's kind of my thought process. So I think I'm pretty much done. I just start, when I get my pages cut, I just kind of start. I went through all my embellishments, and you can see I sorted out. It's like, okay, this is going to go in the first signature. This is going to go in the last signature. I want 2 envelopes in here. I want, you know, that's kind of how I sorted out. And as my purple journal, I haven't quite done that yet. As you can see, I've just got, this is stuff that I know I want in my purple journal. So when I get started on this, I'll go through and be like, okay, well, I have 3 envelopes, 1 in each signature, and I'll divide it by then. That's just kind of my process. Seems to work for me. And then once I figure out what all's going in the signature, I sit down and start putting it together. And by putting it together, I start clipping them in place and kind of figuring it out, kind of planning it out, what I want to do. And then when I get all my embellishments somewhere where I want them, then I start with my first page and do what needs to be done. I sewed, you know, sewed this pocket in, you know, and then just kind of go from there page by page. Work on them page by page. So again, you'll see a lot of blank pages because I like to have space where they can write or create. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So I made a flip out with this envelope. I love doing envelope flip outs. I don't know why. It's just my favorite part. Just because it's so unexpected, I think. But and I've got these cards here that I just splattered wine on and sewed around them. And I need to clean them up, trim them up. My plan is to round these corners and trim up my threads because I just can't, I love it, but I just can't for some reason seem to be all willy-nilly with my threads. I don't know why. I love seeing it in other people's journals, just threads everywhere, but I can't do it in mine for some reason. So, again, these are just simple little journal cards. They are manila colored paper, like a cardstock paper. I sewn around the edges. And trimmed my threads. And I will tuck them in there. I've got these counted out as well. But I had them all set aside so I could sew. And of course, this is just kind of like the first pass of getting the first embellishment stuff on there. And then I'll go through and see where it needs more, see what if I need stuff on the edges, and just kind of, you know, from there. This guy is going to need a pocket of some sort. I did not sew around him, but he's going to need a pocket. I could do a pocket out of that, but I really don't want to. We could just do a pocket like that. That hides him. We could trim this and make it a half pocket. Ooh, you know what? Let's try this. Let's just tear it. See what that does. I mean, it doesn't really do much, but kind of gives it a little bit of character. It's crooked, of course, because, you know, that's what I do. I tear crooked, I cut crooked. And then the question is going to be if I want the fold showing or not. I don't think I do. And we can always decorate and embellish. These are, I don't know. Just playing around with little thingies. This was in my stash of stuff. That's so weird looking for a wine cork. Let's see if we can work with that. I have these guys. Maybe I'll do a little collage there. Simple little collage. I tend to be real simple in my journal making, unless it's like a custom order, and they ask for a bunch of foo-foo. I typically tend to stay pretty simple. And I think mainly it's so I can keep my price points kind of low. Because if I spend a whole bunch of time and a whole bunch of stuff into a journal, I'm going to want a whole bunch of money in return. So I like to keep them simple so I can keep my price points. And now I just realized that this guy doesn't have any sewing around it. Before I stick him down, I want to make sure we do a little sewing. So we're going to have to hold on him because I sewed this morning. I have a love-hate relationship already with my sewing machine. I need an endless bobbin. An endless bobbin would be ever so helpful. Ever so helpful. So I have a love-hate relationship with my sewing machine already. I go through bobbins like crazy. And I'm not a fan of it. And it's not that I have a problem winding my bobbin and you know, making sure that's good to go. My problem is that I hate threading that needle. And when you undo for a bobbin, you have to thread your needle again. And goodness, if that's not horrible on my eyes. I'm not a fan of it. Not a fan. Not a fan. Not a fan. Not a fan. So we're gonna do this, but I'm gonna clip this back in because I need to sew, and I'm not doing that right now because I don't want to thread my needle right now. So the purple paper is wine dyed. I didn't read up on how to wine dye. I just kind of went with it. And I'm thinking maybe I should have boiled it first. Boil the alcohol out of it. Because it's really strong. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just because, I mean, you can smell it. But as I've been working with the pages, it's kind of aired out quite a bit, but you can still smell it. So, so lesson learned. First off, I'm going to read up, next time I do wine dyeing, I'm going to read up on how to do it. And then I'm going to do it properly. And, so yeah, I think though it needs to be boiled to boil the alcohol out of it. Just my thoughts, my unknown thoughts. Here's two little recipe cards, wine recipe cards. They're gonna tuck in this little guy. I'm trying to stay in frame, but I tend to work close to my body. And you guys are way out there. So, again, I tend to bring it back to my body instead of working it out here with you guys. I'm using a mix of this red, but also this dark purple when I'm doing some of these edges. Mainly because these ink sponges are pretty much on their last leg. They were gifted to me, and I don't know how old they are, but they're pretty much on their last leg. So I don't want to plan to do everything in the purple and get halfway through and it not. And same with the red. So that's kind of what we're doing. Okay, this guy's going to go down here with some glue. This little double pocket is one of these envelopes. And I just folded it and sewed it, so we have a pocket and a pocket. And technically, you could make it a triple pocket. If I just glued all three sides, I would have this back, this, and this. But I don't do that. I like them as a double pocket, but they could be a triple pocket. I'm about out of glue. I am not prepared. So yeah, I enjoy making little double pockets out of these guys. I've been doing a lot of them lately. And I think these little pockets I got online, probably on Temu maybe, when I did a big Temu order. But I have since learned, and so I don't know that I'll just say that. I have since learned, so I don't know that I'll be doing the Temu thing anymore. Although, you can find some pretty cool stuff. Some pretty cheap stuff. I think, let's see here. Like I said, this is kind of just my first pass of embellishment. I tend to make a couple passes before I sew them all in. Oh man. Before I sew them in, excuse me, into the spine. I've got the hiccups this morning. Okay, that's going to go in there. And my plan is for these two little guys to go in here, but that may change because the next thing I want to do is this page. And this, again, is wine just splattered, dripped on my page, dripped on the envelopes. And I like it. I may do more. I have a bottle of wine that I dyed these papers with, and I have about this much left in the bottle. And so I've just been spooning it and dripping it and all that. And so when I get done with this, and I'm all done with all things wine, I may just do some little mass make and use up the last of the wine because these are kind of cool. I think so anyways. But my thought was to do a little double pocket on this page. I don't know what to put in them, but I don't know. I mean, I guess technically I don't have to put anything in them. I'm going to set this aside so he can flatten down a little bit more. I'm wondering if we need any of this. Foot's falling asleep. If we did two of them, redo that. Is that too much going on? Or do we do that? I think I like that. Just a little hint. What do you think? Okay, I think I like that. Now the trick's going to be to get them even. Even-ish, how's that? We'll shoot for even-ish. Even-ish. See what becomes of it. Do we want to edge? Maybe add a little purple to our edge, just because that's the thing to do. I don't know if I can add like a dash of alcohol or a dash of water or what to kind of revive these little guys. Or they may just be too far gone, but they're giving me a little bit, so I'll keep taking what I can get. I guess I should probably do that as well. Consistency shell. See, they're giving me a little bit. Just a little bit, and that's okay. Okay. I'm sure I could use some other glue, but I tend to, when I'm gluing things that I know I want to stay, I want them to stay where I put them. I use my Weld Bond. And I don't want my little envelopes popping off later on down the line, so. Even-ish, right? Even-ish. Got to think about something to put in these little guys. Again, I don't guess I necessarily have to put anything in them, but that would be nice. So I'm working on 2 wine journals, and I'll tell you, I went through all my stuff the other night and kind of put together my thought process on these 2 wine journals, and then I set everything else aside because I'm going to make another one that's bigger. These are kind of, I don't want to say thrown together, but these are kind of smaller versions of, look at me, I'm messing things up. These are kind of smaller versions of what I want to do, like a really big, thick, fancier wine journal. So, I'll put together these 2, and then when I have some more breathing room time, because right now, like I said, I'm kind of in a weird little rush, then I'll spend some more time on a bigger, fancier wine journal. And we'll do that. I need to figure out what I want to do here. And I need to sew that guy. Okay, set that one aside. Well, let's work on this one a little bit. This is going to be a fold around pocket, or I don't know what they're called, but this will be a pocket. I need to sew him. So this is what I've got going on for, oh, and that's my plan. That is my plan for this guy. So he can clip together here. On my first page. These are the pieces I want to use in this one. I have a journal card that I've sewn around. Trim my little edges, or my little strings. We don't want all that going on. Okay, and then, oh, let me edge them real quick. Let's edge them with some red. Hit the back a little bit while we're at it. Okay, so we have this little circly-do. He has been mounted on some manila file folder, so he's a little thick. I made a tiny little cluster in the first signature with this round thing, so I'll probably do something similar. And then this was from the kit. It's a tiny little pocket. It's tiny, tiny little pocket. And let's see here. See if I can fold it on the line. Technically, I need to, probably should glue that down a little better, but, or do I even want to use this as a pocket? He'd be a cute little card. I think I'll use him as a card. That'll make life a little easier. A card or a little cluster or something like that. And this is a piece of wallpaper sample, I think. It's just really pretty color. Wine colored. And then I have glue on my fingers. And then I have this natural looking envelope that, let's see here. I'm all over the place at the current moment. Get situated here. These are my wine cards. So I used 2 in the first signature. I have another purple envelope that I'm going to use 2 in the second or the third signature. And then let's see how many I have left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm planning to use 2 of those pink envelope flip outs in my purple journals. So if I do that, use 4 for my purple journal, then I have 2 that I can play with. Do they fit in here? They do, although that's very white on white. So, let me think about this a little bit. I could splatter some wine on this envelope. This I'm going to use as a flip out in this middle signature. I don't know where. Let's see where he's going to go first off. He could go on a pink page. I don't like to do the flip outs on like regular writing paper. the thin copy paper stuff, I like for it to have a little bit of structure and integrity. So, excuse me, it looks like it will go on either the cover of this signature, which is tan, or the pink. And we got this on this, so it probably needs to go on the pink, and it probably needs to go back here. So, do we want to drip wine on it as well? Just to give it some color. And then, that still leaves me with, what do I want to do with these? Do I want to tuck them in there? I really don't, because it's so white. So I have 2 left. I can easily put them aside and use them in my purple journal somewhere, because they are very purple. I think that's what I'll do. And so this middle signature won't get any of these wine cards. And I'm going to drip some wine on this guy. So I'll set that aside. Oh, let's see here. I'm not getting anywhere with this. So this is going to go here. With some wine splatter. And we'll have to figure out what goes in him. And then we have, maybe this can go back here. Yep. Maybe we'll do that back here. Where all my little paper clips have gotten off to. And so this guy, we can do him. And then we have these 2 little cards or tags. So I'm not feeling the middle signature right now. I'll just say that. So I'm going to set this aside and flip to the 3rd signature. And see what progress I can make on him. Oh, this one has a mistake in it. I get to show you my mistake because, you know, that's what we do in this learning process. So I had 2 envelopes set aside for this, 2 little white wine splattered envelopes set aside for this signature. And when I was sewing, my bobbin decided to do all sorts of crazy things, and this happened. I don't know if you can see that. This happened. So my envelope is busted. So I have a couple of different options. I can trash it and be done with it. Or I can trim it down and re-sew it and just have a tiny pocket smaller than this, but then all this will be off. So, I think what I want to do is I think I'll set this aside, not trash it just yet, because I might can use it to make something else. So, this guy, this back signature only has 1 of these little pockets. I could easily make another one because I have more white envelopes. But isn't it funny how this is the same one, but 2 different colors? I think that's kind of cool. I'm sure it has something to do with like the oxidization and the paper and all that good stuff like that. So all these are goodies that go in this signature. The first signature, we had this double pocket. So we'll probably do something like that on this one. Let's see what all we got here. Lots of goodies that need to be sewed. These are going to go in this. So let's figure out where this needs to go. Okay, let's figure out where these go, and then we'll finish this up. Finish up this video. The other flip out was towards the front. I tend to kind of mirror image what I do in one signature and flip it to the other. So this flip out is in the front on the green. So in the back signature, I want this flip out to be towards the back, and it can be on the green. Towards the back. I love the contrast of that pink and green. So we're gonna do him here, and I did a little cluster on the envelope, so I can do that again with this guy. I haven't really sewn any of these elements in this one, in this signature yet. And I would sew on camera, but my sewing machine's kind of clunky loud for whatever reason. So I will spare y'all that. And so this will go here. And then we need to decide pretty journal card. That's a pretty journal card. I wonder if we can do a double pocket. This somehow. Let's see here. We folded him up to here. Can have him in there. And him in there. What do you think? It's two big things in a double pocket. I think I like that. So we'll plan for you to go here. And then I have 2 more recipe cards, a little tag. So maybe the recipe cards can go in here. And then this little pocket can hold this guy. We're left with a tag and a card. Guess that could go in there, but I'm gonna have to figure out something to cover that up. This little Office Depot spot on this folder. But I had to use this folder because it's the perfect color. So there is that. Okay, so I think we'll do this guy on this. And then I don't want that because it corresponds. And this pink blank page in here. I'll do that. Here. guess I can make like a belly band, but I don't know. I don't want to duplicate, so I'll put him here for sure. And then I'm left with and somehow fix him to the back. This will be the last page. Papers are getting crooked. So I'll do him on the last page somewhere, somehow. And then I'm left with a little tag. Now I can always, he doesn't have to go in this signature. I can always add him in here somewhere. I don't know where. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just tuck him in here for now because I don't know about this signature yet. And that kind of gives me some direction with this signature. Now I'm down to sewing and seeing what other embellishments I can create, make, you know, come up with. So I'm going to close this off here. I'm going to find me a little bite of lunch, and then I will get back to it. So yeah, that's just kind of where we are today. We are working on, I need to glue that down. We are working on my wine journal. And again, my process is I'll kind of get this one kind of put together, and then I'll work on my purple one and get it kind of put together. And I'll get them both where I want them to be before I do any sewing into the spines, because I still have to make my spines. I still have to figure out my cover. Yeah, got a lot to do. A lot to do and a little time to do it. But thanks for joining me on this little create with me, little playing around, listening to the rain, enjoying a Saturday, just creating. So I will be back soon enough. I will probably not be back today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see what we're doing. Yeah, maybe I'll come back tomorrow with my progress, because I've still got most all day today to work on this. And so if I come back tomorrow, you should see some progress. So anyways, thanks for joining me. Take care of yourself, and I will see you soon.